Corey, talk a little bit about Jeff Braum, and he's well known as one of the better play callers in college football. What makes him so difficult to defend?
I think they're very balanced. They attack you a lot of different ways. Formationally, personnel-wise, how they match up their scheme. There's compliments to everything, and I think he does a really good job.
What have you seen just on film from Louisville's offensive line? Because PFF's just one way of grading people, but they don't score very highly on there.
Yeah, I think they're a group. They run the stretch play. They run some of the zone stuff very well. I do think they work well together. I think they have handled some different looks, pressure-wise, that have been harder looks. They bumped it. They passed things off. I think it's a group that every week when you watch them, they improve. They're getting a little bit better. And I think especially coming off a bye week right now, they've had extra time to go through and kind of get our looks into practice. So I'm experienced going to be, I think they'll be ready to go for Friday night.
And on your defensive line, obviously there's so much attention has been on Ruben and Akeem, but the guys who come in, rotated in, guys like Marcus Lightfoot, Armando Blunt, how they developed, and how some of the younger guys, maybe Cole McConaughey or some of the freshmen kind of developed over the past 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, that's been the number one thing since January is continue to develop our roster, continue to build our roster, push our guys, everywhere, in the meeting room, in the weight room, walkthroughs, a lot of the reps that we had last week in practice, developing our younger players, constantly trying to get them, to get better fundamentals and techniques. And that's where, I think different things that you've seen with Armando Blunt or Lightfoot or Malik, there's a lot of different guys that you throw in their third. They're constantly getting better with their hand placement. They're constantly getting better with their technique. They're constantly playing with better pad level. And, I think those are guys that right now we could put on the field. We'd feel very comfortable with them. The hard thing is you got some guys in front of them that are playing at a very high level right now.
How much does it help them? One, you were working with Jason Taylor, I'm sure it's a huge boom, and then getting to see guys like Ruben, who's a third-year guy, Akeem Mesro's who's been playing college ball for 6 years. How much does it help to be around those veteran guys with a lot of experience?
I think that's the biggest thing in college football is you have guys that have gone to college and developed. And they've been in a college weight room and they have accumulated reps, whether it be a practice rep or a walkthrough rep or a game rep, no matter what opponent that is. And I think that's, as you look at college football, that's where guys develop and get better and grow every single year. And then I think the thing that we have right now with our players is we got older guys that are constantly bringing up the younger guys. Last week we did different scenarios where older guys are coaching up the younger guys on the field. They're, I thought it was interesting a couple of times. Hey, what play call do you like right now? You kind of get to see, okay, who's, similar to what we're doing right now, or see different ideas that they have, and a different way that they might look at it, and opens up my eyes to different things. But I think just in general of developing, especially up front on the defensive line, is the more that you play, the more that you develop. A lot of these guys are getting to college 17, 18 years old. Now you're 20 years old, 21 years old. You got experience, you got weight room, you got nutrition. It's a completely different player than when you show up on a college campus. And that's, the biggest thing, developing our younger players, and having the opportunity to play behind guys that are playing at a very high level right now, constantly being able to learn from how they're attacking it, how they go about the weight room, how they go about film review, how they attack practice. And then now learning from that and developing as a player themselves.
Through 5 games, how would you evaluate both Wes and Mo at linebacker?
I think we're getting better as a unit communicating. I think we're getting better as a unit working together. And I think it's really all the different guys that have played in that group, whether it's Wes, it's Mo, it's Popo, it's Chase, it's Jalen. We've had a handful of guys get opportunities in that group. And I think just working together with, all three levels, really communicating with our safeties. I think you can see them getting more comfortable. They're playing a little bit faster every week. And there's been little things that we need to continue to tweak and, clean up every single week. There's been, last week in the first series of the game, it's something we had to clean up. Florida, that first drive of the second half, we had a couple misfits. We had a couple of communication errors. And those are just different things, I think, like having a bye week and, getting those guys in and just putting the tape on and having them have the opportunity to talk it out. What did you see here? Okay, this is what I saw. Okay, and then, now have us as a coach maybe step in, okay, why did you see it that way? Why did you see it that way? And now I think guys that have had a lot of college experience now working together and becoming more experienced together, I think will only help those guys continue to play faster. But like Wes is a guy, like his hands, how physical he's playing right now, how he's pursuing the football. I think Mo's a guy that plays very, very fast. I think he's been more detailed with his eyes, and I think his game's constantly, going to the next level. And I think overall in the room, I think that it's been improving.
What type of challenge does Louisville's skill on offense present?
Yeah, I think they have really good players in the perimeter. I think the running back can hit a home run at any point. I mean, you kind of watch the JMU game, and all of a sudden it's 21-14, one play later it's 28-14. At any point he can have an explosive play. I look at the wide receivers on the perimeter are, they're dynamic and they're different style of players. I think one of them has like 7 or 8 touches a game, and he's a big play potential at any point. He goes up and challenges for those, challenges for the ball in the air. And I just think, he, between the way he runs and how big he is, he's going to be a challenge. And same thing, their slot. I think he's a dynamic player. They use him in the backfield, they use him out on the perimeter, they get him the ball in space, they run option routes, and he can take the top off. You see him, get vertical and get behind defenses at times. So I do think they do a really good job of using their players on the perimeter.
You talked about young guys a few minutes ago. Another young guys come in immediately and made an impact. Bryce Fitzgerald. Just what did he have to do to basically hit the ground running and work his way into the rotation to get on the field so quickly?
Yeah, he's a guy that, he joined us in the summer, and I just think, he attacked the playbook, he understood the concepts, understands multiple positions, so he has a really good idea of what's going on around him. What's the safety next to him doing, what's the linebackers in front of him doing, what's the corners doing in these plays, and I think that has helped him to play fast. And then I just think his ability to go attack the football is, it shows up in practice. I think I said it in the past. In camp, the ball always found him. It's kind of been the same thing in the season right now. The ball always finds him, and he makes the play. He attacks it, he high points it, and when it happens in practice, it happens on hopefully this week on Friday night, normally on a Saturday, and it's been something where I think in this style of defense, that's been a position where we've had guys make a lot of plays. And you can go back to last year, we had a freshman All-American. You can go back to the years before that, we had 3 safeties in a row that are all active and starting on NFL rosters. Even if you go all the way back to like JMU, we had safeties that were constantly around the football, constantly making plays at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield. And I think that's something that he's, understood the concepts of the scheme right away, and it allows him to play really fast. And I think that's one thing, is you can have young guys on this defense come in and contribute early on in their career, and I think that's something he's taken advantage of.
Is Ruben, to this point of the season, playing about as well as any defensive player you've been around in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what he's doing right now at the line of scrimmage, both in the run game and the pass game, and there's still things we're always going to clean up and correct, but how physical he's been at the line of scrimmage, his technique, his pad level, his ability to read, run the pass, get off the football. And, I really think it goes back like today, just sitting back and practice. And, usually I'm trying to chase the ball or, swarm to the ball or, he's a guy you never have to get on. Like the way he practices on, Monday, the way he practices on Tuesday is exactly what you're going to get on the weekend or on Friday night or on Saturday. And, that's why he's playing at the level he's playing at right now. And he's constantly improving his hand placement. He's constantly improving his pad level, his separation, his ability to defeat the block and tear off. And, I think that's why he's playing at such a high level right now.
And, obviously, I think there were 16, 17 pro scouts out there today, and it's drawing a lot of attention. How's that impacting Mesidor, who's playing at a pretty high level as well?
Yeah, you want to talk about a guy that's going to be in the right spot. Like, that's what Mez is right now. Mez knows the calls, he knows what's going on around him. He's a very smart football player. And just the way that he attacked this offseason to put himself in the spot he's in right now, physically, taking care of his body with his nutrition, with the weight room. And then that's why he's playing at the level he's playing at right now. And he can do so many different things within the defense. We can use him inside, we can use him outside. his ability to work off the edge. You know, he's dropped at different times, both guys. And that's something where he just brings so much position value and versatility, where he's going to be a guy that's going to be successful no matter what happens, just because of the way he attacks it day to day and how he goes about the process.
Corey, you worked with Kurt Zignetti at JMU. He got Indiana up to number 3 in the country right now. Is that looking at that, seeing how well he's done so fast there, is that surprising that he's able to turn around that program so fast?
No, I think, it's how he goes about the process. It's how he goes about the day to day and that staff, and just knowing a lot of even some of the players that they had that they took. That's just what it was. It was all about the process every day and constantly focusing on that and getting better. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.